but they have to understand I chose to stay in my country because I'm French, and I'm sure they will understand. And I talk with you guys. I'm here.
What do you do when you become a World Cup winner at 19, and the world expects everything from you after that? Most players chase the spotlight. Kylian Mbappé learned to control it. From the streets of Bondy to the biggest stadiums on earth, Mbappé didn't just grow into greatness, he managed it. No public relationships, no unnecessary noise, just speed, trophies, and decisions that reshape modern football. While others let fame define them, Mbappé stayed selective. While others speak, he waits. This isn't just the story of a football superstar. It's the story of discipline, pressure, and precision, on and off the pitch. Long before the world learned his name, before stadiums rose to their feet at the sound of his footstep, Kylian Mbappé was just another boy chasing a ball through the narrow streets of Bondy, a modest suburb on the outskirts of Paris. Bondy was not a place of luxury. It was gritty, crowded, and alive with noise. But in the middle of it all, on worn football pitches and schoolyard grounds, a quiet miracle was unfolding. From the moment Kylian could walk, he could run, and when he ran faster than everyone else. He was born on December 20th, 1998, into a family where sport was more than passion. It was language. His father, Wilfried, understood football deeply. His mother, Faiza, understood competition. Together, they created an environment where talent was nurtured but never allowed to grow careless. At age 5, Kylian joined AS Bondy, the local football club. The ball seemed to obey him. He didn't panic under pressure. He didn't hesitate when defenders rushed toward him. Where other children played impulsively, he played thoughtfully, as if the game spoke to him in advance. Soon, adults were watching more closely than children. Coaches whispered. Parents pointed. Yet Kylian remained grounded. His father insisted that discipline came before praise. Mistakes were corrected, not excused. Talent, Wilfried believed, was nothing without responsibility. At home, Kylian's bedroom walls were covered with posters, not of superheroes, but of footballers. Cristiano Ronaldo stared back at him from glossy pages, not as a fantasy, but as a roadmap. Kylian studied his idol the way students study textbooks. He didn't want to dream the dream, he wanted to build it. As his speed became impossible to ignore, opportunities multiplied. By his early teens, Kylian had outgrown most players his age. Defenders were left frozen. Goalkeepers could only watch. Yet fame was kept at a careful distance. His parents shielded him, warning him that applause could be louder than truth. At 13, the call came from Clairefontaine, France's most prestigious football academy. Many had walked its halls and gone on to become legends. There, away from home, Kylian faced his first true test. He was no longer the obvious standout. Everyone was gifted, but he adapted. He learned. He listened. While others leaned on flair, he relied on work ethic. He stayed after training. He replayed mistakes in his mind, and slowly, quietly, he separated himself again. Europe began to notice. At 14, Kylian was invited to England to train with Chelsea. The facilities were flawless. The promise was tempting. For a moment, the future seemed ready to leap forward too fast. But Kylian chose restraint. His family chose patience. He returned to France, to stability, to growth. Not all doors, they knew, must be entered immediately. The first time the professional world truly noticed Kylian Mbappé, it wasn't because of hype or headlines. It was because defenders couldn't catch him. At just 16 years old, wearing the red and white of AS Monaco, Mbappé stepped onto the pitch like someone who already belonged there. He didn't play cautiously. He didn't play like a teenager learning his way. He played with freedom, fast, fearless, and devastatingly direct. By 17, history had already begun to bend in his direction. Monaco's 2016-17 season became a storm, and Mbappé was at its center. Goals came in bunches. Big moments came against big opponents. In Ligue 1 and the Champions League, he ran past experience as if it were standing still. Monaco won the league. Europe took notes. The boy from Bondy was no longer a promise. He was a problem. That summer, the spotlight followed him to Paris Saint-Germain. Expectations were enormous, almost unfair. But Mbappé didn't shrink beneath them. He accelerated. At PSG, surrounded by stars, he became one. Season after season, goals poured in. Titles stacked up. Records fell quietly, then loudly. Mbappé became the face of French football at club level. Ligue 1's dominant force, its top scorer, its most feared forward. Yet, for all the individual brilliance, something larger was building. The world stage was waiting. In 2018, in Russia, Mbappé arrived at the FIFA World Cup not as a passenger, but as a weapon. He scored, he sprinted, he terrified defenses. In the final, he found the net again, becoming only the second teenager after Pelé to score in a World Cup final. France were champions. Mbappé was 19 years old. Fame followed instantly, but it never seemed to slow him. Back in Paris, he grew sharper, more complete. He learned when to explode and when to pause. His game evolved from raw speed to controlled dominance. By his early 20s, he was no longer just a winger, he was a leader. When Lionel Messi and Neymar joined him at PSG, the spotlight intensified. Mbappé didn't disappear beside legends. He stood level with them, and eventually, he stood ahead. In 2022, the World Cup returned, and so did Mbappé. This time, not as a prodigy, but as the man France relied on most. In a final that felt scripted by fate, he scored a hat trick, carrying his nation to the edge of history. France fell just short, but Mbappé walked away with the golden boot. And something more important, proof that the biggest moments belonged to him. Soon after, he became captain of France, a role that spoke to more than talent. It spoke to trust. Yet one chapter still waited to be written. After years of speculation, decisions, and pressure, Mbappé finally made the move the football world had long anticipated, to Real Madrid. It wasn't an escape, it was a step forward, a new challenge, heavier with history, expectation, and legacy. At Madrid, he arrived not as a dreamer, but as a finished product, faster, wiser, more ruthless. A player shaped by titles, heartbreaks, and the weight of being the future for so long. Now, every run carries more than speed. It carries responsibility. It carries history. Kylian Mbappé's professional life is not a rise. It's a continuation. A straight line from potential to purpose, from promise to presence. And still, at the highest level of the game, he runs, not chasing the world anymore, but daring it to keep up. This is where the story stops being about football and starts being about millions. By his mid-20s, he crossed a rare line, where talent becomes leverage and a player becomes an enterprise. Today, Mbappé's net worth is estimated between $200 and $250 million, placing him among the wealthiest footballers of his generation, while still in his prime. In 2024, Mbappé joined Real Madrid on a free transfer, but nothing about the deal was free. His contract runs until 2029, earning him around 31 million euros per year gross, roughly 15 to 16 million euros net, plus a massive signing bonus reported between 120 and 150 million euros paid over the length of the deal. That alone made headlines. But the real masterstroke came quietly. Mbappé negotiated up to 80% ownership of his image rights, a rare concession that turned him from a salaried star into a self-governing brand. While others chased higher base pay, Mbappé chased freedom. The result? By 2025, Forbes listed him among the world's highest-paid athletes, with annual earnings near $90 to $95 million, driven as much by business as football. Another big part of his wealth also comes from endorsements. Mbappé doesn't endorse noise. He endorses alignment. His flagship partnership with Nike, worth over $10 million annually, positioned him as the face of football's next generation. Complete with signature mercurial boots, luxury followed seamlessly. Dior, making him a global fashion ambassador. Hublot, paying roughly €1 million per year to front its football campaigns. Oakley, blending performance with youth storytelling. EA Sports, placing him on the FIFA 21 cover together. These deals generate an estimated $20 to $30 million per year, a figure that only grew with his arrival at Real Madrid. Mbappé doesn't sell products. He sells identity. Where many spend, Mbappé builds. Through his firm coalition capital, he has moved decisively into ownership. In 2025, the company acquired a stake in the France SailGP team, signaling Mbappé's entry into elite global sport beyond football. Even more significant, he became majority owner of Stade Malherbe Caen, stepping into football governance while still playing at the highest level. His portfolio keeps expanding. Sorare, the blockchain fantasy sports platform Zebra Valley, a media and production company focused on youth culture. The numbers are private, but the strategy is clear. Long-term relevance over short-term cash. For all the wealth, Mbappé has never been defined by it. In 2018, he donated his entire World Cup bonus, around €500,000, to charity. He later founded Inspired by KM, IBKM, a global youth foundation now integrated into his commercial partnerships, including SailGP. Wealth, for Mbappé, is a tool, not a trophy. Today, Kylian Mbappé is not just one of football's best-paid players. He is a compounding brand. Now, let's talk about how the GOAT spends his money. Starting off strong with his luxury multi-million-dollar mansions. Shortly after signing for Paris Saint-Germain in 2017, Kylian Mbappé moved into a luxury duplex penthouse in Paris's 16th arrondissement. The property has been widely valued at around €3.7 million and became his primary residence during his PSG years. The penthouse spans roughly 6,000+ square feet and features multiple bedrooms, expansive living areas, terraces, and panoramic views across Paris, including sightlines toward the Eiffel Tower. This home remained Mbappé's base throughout his rise as PSG's star player until his departure in 2024. In 2024, following his transfer to Real Madrid, Mbappé purchased a mansion in La Finca, Madrid's most exclusive and highly secured residential community. Reports place the purchase price at approximately €11 million, with some valuations, including market estimates and upgrades, rising to around €15 million. The mansion was previously owned by former Real Madrid player Gareth Bale. It includes 7 bedrooms, 11 bathrooms, indoor and outdoor swimming pools, a private gym, cinema room, terraces, landscaped gardens, and parking for multiple vehicles. The property sits on a large private plot designed for maximum privacy and security. This became Mbappé's primary residence upon settling in Spain. Moving on to his collection of high-end luxury cars and supercars. Kylian Mbappé is synonymous with speed. On the pitch, few players in football history have moved faster. Off it, his taste in cars follows the same theme: power, precision, and restraint. One of the most talked about vehicles in Mbappé's collection is the Ferrari 488 Pista. This track-focused supercar is widely reported to be the crown jewel of his garage, with a purchase price of around €527,000. Built with a twin-turbo V8 and designed for extreme performance, the 488 Pista mirrors Mbappé's explosive style: aggressive, lightweight, and uncompromising. Alongside it sits another Italian classic, the Ferrari 458 Italia. Valued at approximately €300,000, the 458 represents a purer era of Ferrari engineering, powered by a naturally aspirated V8 and developed with input from Formula One legend Michael Schumacher. It is less about technology and more about feel, a driver's car, even if Mbappé himself rarely takes the wheel. For daily movement during his PSG years, Mbappé relied on comfort rather than spectacle. He frequently used a Mercedes-Benz V-Class, a luxury MPV priced at around €130,000. Spacious, discreet, and practical, it became his preferred ride to training grounds and matches, often with a chauffeur behind the wheel. His garage also includes several Volkswagen models, a reflection of long-standing partnerships between the French national team and the German manufacturer. Among them is the Volkswagen Touareg, valued at roughly €100,000, and the more modest Volkswagen Tiguan, which starts at around €30,000. These vehicles emphasize reliability and low profile rather than showmanship. After his move to Real Madrid, Mbappé also became part of the club's partnership with BMW. Reports confirm that he received a customized BMW luxury sedan, valued at approximately €150,000, as part of the collaboration, though its use remains largely symbolic due to chauffeur arrangements and licensing considerations. What makes Mbappé's car collection unique isn't just the price tags or brand names, it's the contrast. Despite owning supercars capable of extreme speed, Mbappé has been open about not prioritizing driving himself, often opting for professional drivers. The cars, in many ways, are extensions of identity rather than daily indulgence. From a €30,000 Volkswagen SUV to a €500,000 Ferrari, Mbappé's garage reflects balance, speed and restraint, luxury and practicality, power without excess. Much like his career, controlled, calculated, and always moving forward. Kylian Mbappé doesn't surround himself with excess. He chooses symbols. The most constant symbol in Mbappé's luxury world is what sits on his wrist. Since 2018, he has been a global ambassador for Hublot, one of the most elite Swiss watchmakers. Over the years, Mbappé has been seen wearing some of Hublot's most exclusive pieces. Not entry-level luxury, but statement timepieces meant to mark greatness. Among them is the Hublot Big Bang Unico Titanium Rainbow, valued at around $70,000, set with multicolored gemstones and built to stand out under stadium lights and global cameras. Even rarer is the Spirit of Big Bang King Gold Rainbow, priced near $90,000, crafted in Hublot's proprietary gold alloy and instantly recognizable. He has also worn multiple Champions League and Tournament Edition Hublots, with prices ranging from about $12,000 to $30,000, depending on the model. These watches aren't about decoration. They are about timing, pressure, and moments that don't repeat. Off the wrist, Mbappé's luxury shifts to fashion, sharp, controlled, and intentional. Since 2021, he has been a global ambassador for Dior, becoming one of the few footballers positioned at the center of high fashion rather than just sportswear. In Dior campaigns and appearances, Mbappé is dressed in bespoke tailoring, luxury outerwear, silk ties, and fine leather accessories, pieces that individually cost thousands to tens of thousands of dollars, even when the brand doesn't publicly name the price. No loud logos, no chaotic styling, just precision. Wealth can buy mansions and luxury, but it cannot buy legacy. For Kylian Mbappé, legacy is measured somewhere else. It's measured in trophies, records, and awards. Kylian Mbappé won his first FIFA World Cup in 2018, at just 19 years old, scoring in the final and becoming the second teenager in history, after Pelé, to do so. That same tournament earned him the FIFA World Cup Best Young Player award. In 2022, he delivered one of the greatest World Cup performances ever, 8 goals, including a hat-trick in the final, and claimed the FIFA World Cup Golden Boot as the tournament's top scorer. Domestically, Mbappé dominated France. Between 2019 and 2024, he won the League One Golden Boot 6 consecutive times, a historic record, and was repeatedly named UNFP League One Player of the Year. At international level, he added the UEFA Nations League title in 2021, finishing as the top scorer in the finals. In 2024 to 25, His first season with Real Madrid, Mbappé reached another milestone, 31 league goals, earning the European Golden Boot as Europe's top scorer. Across his career, Mbappé has collected World Cup Golden Boot, European Golden Boot, multiple domestic Golden Boots, league titles with Monaco, PSG, and Real Madrid, and repeated selections in FIFA, FIFPro, World 11. Despite numerous nominations, the Ballon d'Or remains the one major prize still missing, a reminder that his story is not finished. Let's get a little deep into his personal life. Kylian Mbappé is one of the most famous athletes in the world, yet his personal life remains almost completely sealed. He has never publicly confirmed a serious relationship, despite frequent media speculation. No public partners, no social media displays. Mbappé chooses silence, and he has never broken it. That silence fuels curiosity. But the real controversy around Mbappé has never been romantic. It's been power. At PSG, he became the center of repeated debates over influence, contracts, and authority. His 2022 contract renewal, so significant it drew national attention, triggered backlash and divided opinion. Some saw loyalty, others saw control. On the pitch, moments of visible frustration and disagreements were magnified into headlines. Off it, Mbappé spoke selectively, pushed back against narratives, and refused to explain himself, private in relationships, unapologetic in decisions. Mbappé's most controversial trait isn't drama, it's restraint. At first glance, Kylian Mbappé's life looks like pure luxury. The wealth, the style, the power, the recognition. But look closer. What sets Mbappé apart isn't what he owns. It's what he controls. He controls his image. He controls his privacy. He controls his decisions, even when the world disagrees. His luxury isn't excess. It's discipline. While others turn success into noise, Mbappé turns it into focus. Every move is calculated. Every upgrade has a purpose. Every silence is intentional. And here's the takeaway. Real luxury isn't about showing everyone how far you've come. It's about building a life where nothing and no one controls you. Because true success doesn't need to be loud, it just needs to last. If you enjoyed this look into Mbappé's luxury life, like, subscribe, and comment who you want next. Until then, remember, the quietest lifestyles often belong to the most powerful people.